So we're gonna learn about some pelvic floor health today. I'm gonna add my beautiful friend Angel here.
Okay.
How do you feel?
So good.
You ready?
Yes.
We're in the
Ooh,
fluxing with
oh my
friends room.
God.
Does it feel like a real workout?
Yes. Holy cow. Yeah, that definitely feels like a workout.
And you already worked out today, right?
Yeah.
You lifted? That's
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect, especially if you want to grow the booty.
Oh yeah.
Then we want to lift first. I'm trying to find my way in here. Woo. Okay. Hi. So we are in the Flux with Friends room. Now I'm about to turn myself up. We are doing core and booty today. And then we're gonna do some pelvic floor work.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about how did you get into pelvic floor health? Like what inspired you? Like all women need it, obviously.
Yes. People ask me that question, and every single time a million answers run across my mind because yes, women need it. And most importantly, so women's health is arguably the most understudied in
Mhm.
healthcare in general. So I have always so, sorry, this is kicking my butt, but it's so good.
Does it feel like it's good for pelvic floor health?
Honestly, it
Yeah.
couldn't hurt. Because okay, so when you think about your pelvic floor, you're just thinking about your pelvic floor. You're thinking about like your southern region. But what people don't realize that your abdomen plays a lot into your pelvic floor health as well. So having a strong core can contribute to a healthy pelvic floor.
And then I'm so excited you're trying this because I'm interested to hear about like what kind of pelvic floor workouts could somebody do like before they came and did this to get them help working together. Because if you work whatever muscles first and then you do this afterwards, it's just gonna really help your reaction time. It can help with recovery time and like getting your strength and stuff where you want it. But you want to do that like right before you come here.
Before you would come here, I would do some very obviously glute and core focus exercises, like
Mhm.
some bridges, do some like deep core exercises, like some like Russian twist, butterfly, or a Pilates roll up.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, something like
Hmm.
that. But definitely bridges. Do like 3 sets of like 100 bridges. That will really, oof, I can only imagine the benefits to all of that.
Yeah, so with the body sculpting, it helps you to tone muscles. It's going to help you to lose cellulite. It's going to help you to lose inches. And it is going to help develop the abs. But if you want really strong abs, you do have to do that deep core exercises from the inside. This is going to help from the outside. But for most people, if you want those strong abs, the look of abs, then you're going to want to do a little bit of that before you come in here. And they just work so incredible together. We're about to learn about pelvic floor moves.
So Kegels, yoni eggs, and the balls, they all serve a similar mission. However, depending on your pelvic floor condition, those three things could actually do more harm than good. So with pelvic floor yoga, or when if you're in pelvic floor physical therapy, you're focusing more on contract, release, relax in your breathing. So when you have a yoni egg inserted, or when you have one of the balls inserted, or when you're doing Kegels, you are continuously having your vaginal walls or your pelvic floor contracted. So if you are already suffering from a hypertonic pelvic floor, that could really cause you to have more pain. With a hypotonic pelvic floor, I could see like where there would be a benefit to the yoni eggs. However, it's just, and that's with that, it's just one of those things that listen to your body. Or then I always recommend if you are suffering from pelvic floor dysfunction in any capacity, I always recommend going to a pelvic floor physical therapist, you know, because they will give you the tools that you need for your condition. The only difference between a man's pelvic floor and a woman's pelvic floor is a woman has her bladder, her uterus, and then her rectum. A man has his bladder, his prostate, and then his rectum. So we all have a pelvic floor. We all have 3 layers to the pelvic floor. Women, so when I say 3 layers, the layers aren't stacked against each other. They're more like interweaved, kind of like a basket. So the first layer of your pelvic floor, that is where your holes are, your urethra, your vaginal opening, your rectum, and then that second layer of the pelvic floor is kind of like the diaphragm, and so that connects to the first layer of your pelvic floor, and then it connects like those intermediate muscles. And it, so in your the first layer of your pelvic floor is like a infinity sign, kind of. So it's like a it's called your perineum, and your second layer of your pelvic floor connects to that. And then you have your third layer of your pelvic floor, and it's kind of like a trampoline. So that goes from your pubic bone to your tailbone, and that's, all of your organs are stored on top of that. So your rectum, your uterus, your bladder, or your rectum, your prostate, and your bladder.
So I think you were saying something I saw something that you posted about this can help with incontinence. So that sounds like it can help with incontinence for both men and women, right? Strengthening it.
Oh yes. Okay, so it depends on your incontinence. So people think like when they hear weak pelvic floor, they automatically think loose or lax or hypotonic when, you can have a very tense pelvic floor and or very tense or tight or hypertonic pelvic floor, and that is still just as weak as one would say a hypo or lax or loose. So there's 2 types of incontinences. There's stress incontinence, where like when you laugh or you sneeze and you pee. Or you have urge incontinence, where every time you see a bathroom, you feel like you have to go. Even if you don't have to, you just kind of, your bladder is like, you just get that urge, like, oh, I have to go. Or like, have you ever like pulled up to your house and you didn't have to pee that entire time, but then, oh my God, I have to pee, I'm home.
Okay, yeah, yeah, that's
so
happened.
that's urge incontinence.
Okay.
So typically those who have urge incontinence, they typically suffer from hypertonic pelvic floor. So in that case, I would teach you, or I would develop a yoga sequence for a hypertonic pelvic floor. I would help you stretch out those muscles.
Okay, cool.
And then for stress incontinence, or more lax pelvic floor, hypotonic pelvic floor, I would develop a yoga sequence that would strengthen those muscles. Okay. And I also want to point out that pelvic floor yoga is evidence-based. There were actual studies done by Stanford Medical School and the University of California, San Francisco. So this is peer-reviewed. There is an actual study, and I can send that to you, and I can post it or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we'll post that. If this is on YouTube, we'll definitely post that in the
notes. Yeah.
And whatever's underneath this.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, this is a proven study too that proves that this is good for incontinence and good for pelvic pain. I'll show you 2 different moves for hypertonic and then hypotonic. And then what we are going to do is called a Supta Padangusthasana. In other words, that is reclining big toe 1. So I'm going to give you the strap, and this is very important. You want to place the strap in the arch of your foot. You're gonna grab the straps with both hands. Oh, don't come up yet. You're gonna straighten this leg. You're gonna bring this knee into your torso. And then you're going to slowly push up. Push that leg up into the strap and kind of hold it more like that, like reins, as close to the top as you can without your shoulder blades leaving the mat. And you're going to keep this right foot flexed up, and you're going to extend through your groin while simultaneously pushing up. This is giving you a really good hamstring stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And typically I have my students keep it there for like 1 to 3 minutes, depending.
Really?
So if you have tight hamstrings, you tend to have a tight pelvic floor. So when you begin to stretch your hamstrings, also tight hips are usually an indicator of a tense pelvic floor. When you strengthen when you stretch those muscles, you're going to feel a lot of relief in your pelvic floor if you have a tense pelvic floor. So if sex is uncomfortable for you, you have pain, it's just not enjoyable, these two exercises, these two poses that I'm going to show you will bring you some relief. The pelvic floor is so neglected, especially, because men, they think like since they don't like have children or anything like that, that they don't really have to worry about their pelvic floor issues. Well, until, they start, passing a bowel movement accidentally on themselves. Or, a lot of men also have very tense pelvic floor, so that might help make them struggle getting an erection or things of that nature. Whereas like women, and it drives me insane, a lot of doctors, they'll tell women like after they have a baby that that
Yes.
they will probably always like pee on themselves when they sneeze or laugh or something, because they say it's normal. While it is common does not mean normal, and that they have a choice. They do not have to live the rest of their life peeing on themselves because they're sneezing.
Yeah, I love that. I say that all the time with my clients. Just because it's common, it's not normal.
Yeah.
Like when I've done skin tightening on myself and I've had like little bit of fibrosis stuff from hormones, and that I freaked out at first because I had only been doing skin tightening on people who like had obviously loose skin, they've had kids, they've got stretch marks. I was just doing it because I used to go to the tanning bed and I lived in Miami and didn't wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
And I was like right before I was 29, and I was seeing how people who were like they had a flat stomach, and then I would tighten them and it'd be like, whoa, abs, So I did it on myself for the first time, and then I felt like a lump in there. I'm like, oh my God, do I have cancer or something? So I call over my friend who's a doctor. He said the same thing. He's like, oh, that's normal. I'm like, it's not normal if I can use this machine to get rid of it and I look better and I feel better afterwards.
Right.
That's not normal. That might be common, but if we can fix it, like, why should we consider that as acceptable? I don't understand that.
Exactly. Well, that just kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I mean, women's health is understudied, and the pelvic floor, so like pelvic floor yoga, pelvic floor physical therapy, these are all like relatively new concepts in the medical world. We're hearing about it more now because people are becoming more conscious and more aware um, of the different ways that they can improve their quality of life through their own health. And then sexual health is a big one because I mean, like, who doesn't want to have like a good sex life? From who doesn't want to have like a strong like pelvic floor, and you're not having to worry about peeing on yourself or so
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the pelvic floor can keep you from going number 1 and number 2 on yourself.
yeah.
Wow. That's insane.
And then how often should somebody do this? Like every day? I say every other day.
Every other day.
Yeah, or at least at the very least 3 times a week. How I do it is I come and I visit you every week for 6 weeks. We do these one-on-one sessions, and I come to you. I always do house calls. Usually women start to see like the most improvement within that 6 weeks. Of course, do your poses, your sequence when I'm not there, but when I'm there, I'll help you do more of your stretches. So, for example, when I'm here, I'm gonna make sure you keep your foot flexed. You're gonna keep this thigh down. So, and then yes, I'm gonna make sure you have that leg straight.
Oh, that feels so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a stretch, which you can't get by yourself.
Right. So this is what I do.
And then so this, I mean, this kind of stretching would also help with like cellulite stuff too.
Yeah.
Mixing this in with some like those
slowly bring your knee into your torso and then extend. And then you might notice that side, your left side, might feel a little bit longer, a little bit warmer.
It does feel longer.
Okay, so go into child's pose. Now, yeah, can you like sit deeper into that left side compared to your right?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like as much work.
See, it's something just that simple.
So are there any workouts that people, because I know sometimes I'll see people that might be doing too much and it might be leading away from their goals, like doing too much cardio or something like that. Is there any kind of, or just, I know when a lot of times when I do certain types of yoga, I will also have to do extra abs because I feel like it trains my abs to like breathe out more than look cute. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I'm so happy that you mentioned breathing. Most people do not know how to breathe. So, especially like women, right? From a young age, we're told to hold our stomachs in and walk upright, and that has affected our breathing so severely. So when you breathe, you're supposed to take like deep breaths. Like you're supposed to feel your belly expand. You're supposed to feel your rib cage expand. You're supposed to feel your pelvic, like that air get into your pelvic floor. But what we are doing now is like we are doing like a reverse breathing where we breathe in and up like we're scared.
Yeah.
Instead of like that. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like our breathing is like more shallow. And so by not breathing properly, we're putting a lot of weight on our pelvic floor because we're holding our abs in.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
So when that happens, that is why a lot like that is a so that can cause an organ prolapse, like urine prolapse, bladder prolapse, rectal prolapse, for men.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that there's just so much that we can do like on our own at home, to prevent or prolong having to have these like medical major procedures where you could literally die.
And there's such easy fixes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, there's like everyday life, there's like things that you can do that, gives your pelvic floor some assistance, like the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you walk, the way you breathe. I mean, those are all like major factors in your pelvic health. But I will say your breathing is very, very important to your pelvic health. Lay down. So this is actually this is good for this segment because it's foundational. Yeah, you breathe up and in. A lot of people do. Allow your rib cage to expand. Fill your belly up. Breathe into your pelvic floor. You really do. You have to practice. It really is like something that you have to practice.
So how long should I practice this before I can like switch up, before the breathing will switch up?
Kind of have to be conscious of it. Just be mindful of it.
And then, so are there any workouts people could be doing that, could be like counteracting? Or, like you said, like something being too tight. You know what I mean? Is there any kind of like lifting or something that
so let me take a good example. Like martial arts, like let's say Brazilian jiu-jitsu. A lot of them they kind of suffer from like that tense pelvic floor just because of the nature of the art, or like kickboxing, or hurdles. That's a big one too. I mean, a lot of hurdlers they eventually get like that tilted, like that pelvic tilt, or like equestrians, a lot of times they will begin to suffer from a hypo, more lax pelvic floor, especially if they're riding English because they're banging their pelvic floor against the saddle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So these are like you could probably develop like a yoga plan specific to what kind of sports they're doing so that they can keep that in balance,
Yeah,
right? And though
absolutely.
that would probably be totally different based on like the sport, right?
Yeah.
Because they would have
Well,
different.
so basically, how I begin like my practice, I help women distinguish their pelvic floor condition. Firstly, I have you guys do like your own homework assignment, and I have you give yourself a perineal massage, and that is when you stick your thumb in your vaginal opening, and you start at like that. Oh, 2 o'clock, like so you stick your thumb in your vaginal opening at the 2 o'clock, and then you go all the way around to 10 o'clock. And then when you're feeling in there, you kind of feel like, hey, does it feel like guitar strings? Does it feel hard, or is it more mushy? I don't really feel much. And that's how you can kind of distinguish whether you have a hypotonic. So a hypertonic is going to feel hard. It's going to feel like guitar strings, and it's going to like hurt. And
Hmm.
then the other side, like the hypotonic, it's going to feel like more mushy, and it's not going to like you're not going to really feel like anything. And then I bring you in, and then I do like our intake. I do a very, very deep, very intense assessment because I learn all about like your pelvic history from like the time you can remember to now. And then what I do is I assess your breathing. I'll have you lie down in a shavasana, and then I will reteach you how to breathe, and then I will watch your rib cage. I will watch your stomach, and I will watch your pelvic floor to see um, if there's any area even really getting down there. So I had a very tense pelvic floor on my right side. My left side was normal, but my right side was super tense. So you can also have a combination. So my right side was super tense. And when I went in for my training, my mentor, she was like watching my pelvic floor. She was like, "You get no air on your right side, on your pelvic floor." And then I went and I did my cranial massage, and I'm like, "Oh my God, like I have so much pain on my right side." And then, so when I was doing my training, we were like doing all these different poses for hypertonic pelvic floor. And then by the end of it, and this was just 4 days of work, like I felt such a difference. Um, so like yeah, so then what I'll do is I will assess your breathing. I'll add weights. Um, I place a bolster under your thighs, and then I'll put like a blanket on top of your thighs, and then I'll watch your breathing and to see if like any air is getting into your pelvic floor, or if I notice that if you are kind of struggling to get air down there, I'll add another weight, like I'll add like a sandbag or something.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so then that really helps me determine like, okay, you're getting more air on this side than this side, or you're not really getting air on either side, or it's like it looks like you're getting air down there, so that may not be the issue. And
Mm-hmm.
then like but usually like if that's the case, like so if someone is like able to get air down there, like that's like usually not the case. Like that's not the issue. They usually have. I don't want to say like, oh, because they're getting air down there that they have a hypotonic pelvic floor. That's not what I'm saying. Usually a woman knows if she has a hypo or lax pelvic floor.
So like what my friend was we were talking to yesterday. So
Mhm.
she went through cancer treatment for I think cervical cancer.
She likely has a very tense pelvic floor.
Yeah, and she was saying she had chemo, she had radiation, and she said that it hurts and she said it does feel very tight. So now like would that be a different protocol, or how would you treat that differently than somebody who has like a tight pelvic floor, but it's just but it's not from something like chemo or radiation.
It'd be the same protocol.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then how quickly do your clients start to feel a difference?
So my client that I'm working with right now, she has endometriosis, and we have done 3 one-on-one sessions so far, and she has told me that her symptoms have decreased. Her endo symptoms have decreased since we have been working together. Like, she's not feeling like as much pain during her periods, and you know, like, I don't know if you have endo or know of anyone who does, but like usually they get very, very painful periods, like it's like unbearable. But she already in just 3 weeks is noticing a difference. I typically women will see the most difference in 6 weeks. And again, always make sure that the strap is in the arch of your foot, knee to your torso first, and then slowly, actually, stop bringing your hands up to the top more, as high as you can without your shoulder blades leaning on the mat. Extend this leg, flex your right foot up, and then push up. Here, hold on. So there you go. And then push up. And then you're going to grab it with this hand, grab both straps with this hand.
Okay.
And you are going to bring this leg out.
Ooh, I like that.
So this is the one where you are stretching that second layer of your pelvic floor. Okay. And this is the one that will help you achieve orgasm if you have a tense pelvic floor and that's like uncomfortable for you. And then curl this foot in between like 1 to 3 minutes.
So it feels so good.
Keep your foot curled in, leg flexed up, and then I'm going to press down on your thigh a little bit.
So yeah, that I can tell a big difference.
Yep. So then that's two poses for a hypertonic pelvic floor. So we bring that up, knee into your torso, and down. So,
like, yeah, it feels like way more stretched out. This one feels almost like a little bit stuck right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not stuck, but it definitely does feel like that compared to the other one.
Yeah. It really does make a difference.
Yeah. I feel like more like mobility in my hips.
Yep. Oh yeah. Like after like whenever I'm done with my pelvic floor, as soon as they have like a swing in their hips, you know, like they feel looser and more mobile. Yeah. And then like it really helps their sex life. I have had so many students tell me like, oh my God, thank you for saving my sex life.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love hearing those pleasant reviews.
Like, I mean, I have like PCOS, so I'll have like horrible periods sometimes. Definitely like diet plays a huge role.
Oh, yeah, what
to do with it.
Gut health, diet.
Now you were mentioning something about like, throughout like the woman's cycle and everything, like there's certain things that you should eat at different times. I know like I always feel better if I get like red meat in my system around like period times.
Yeah, because you're replacing the iron that you're about to use with all of that bloodshed.
I like sea moss for that too. Like sea moss smoothies and stuff that has like a lot of good iron in it. So what other times with like the ovulating or stuff that we shouldn't eat? I find that so interesting too.
So so like also back to like the period, during like my period times, I like to have like dark berries, a lot of dark berries because they're like inflammatory and they're full of like antioxidants. So your luteal phase is that phase leading up to your follicular and ovulatory phase. Your luteal phase is when your uterine lining is thickening, getting ready for your period. And so like during that time, we call that the inner fall. So you want to have like warmer, like more comfort foods, a lot of fiber-rich foods. And during your ovulatory phase, that is more of a time you want to have like your salmons. You want to have like a lot of your healthy fats and things of that nature. So one of the poses for a hypotonic pelvic floor, and I know you have all seen it, it is just a warrior two. We tend to want to, like when we're in warrior two, we tend to want to collapse on that front knee. That is not what you want to do. That is not a warrior two. So you're gonna have your front leg just like straight, your back foot at an angle, at 90-degree angle. Squeeze your heels and you're gonna push them down as if you're bringing them together, and then externally rotate your thighs. Keep your front knee perpendicular to the floor, and you will feel your pelvic floor engage. Squeeze your heels as if you're trying to bring them together, and while simultaneously pushing down, come down onto your knee, not forward like that. You want to be straight up, and then externally rotate your thighs, and you will feel your pelvic floor engage and lift. A really good pose if you suffer from a hypotonic pelvic floor, which is lax. Then another pose, you're going to have your pelvic floor tucked, but you're going to hinge at your hips, and you'll feel your sitting bones stretch. And then just kind of hang there for a minute.
Nice. This is a lot easier. I thought we were gonna have to do headstands or something.
That's the best part about pelvic floor yogas, are just literally for everyone. So this one is for hypertonic, and so it's just a lunge, but you want to add circular movement.
Ooh, I like that one.
It feels so good. You want to think about your belly button holding a pencil, and you are drawing a circle with that pencil. Or another one for hypotonic, just your typical cat cows. You can be intuitive with that movement. Always start with the neutral spine, hands stacked below your shoulders, knees are hip width apart. Maybe you want to combine both of those movements and do some hula hoops, which feels amazing.
Yeah, that's so great. But it's good to do both, right?
These are all yoga poses that you would do in a regular sequence. Yeah. But it's just combining them and learning which ones belong for which conditions. When you have a hypertonic pelvic floor, usually sex is not fun. Sex is painful. You have trouble reaching orgasm because it doesn't feel good. You're just kind of laying there waiting for it to be over, which is not fun for anyone.
No.
So if that is you, you probably have a hypertonic pelvic floor, or maybe one side is hypertonic, and there's help for that. So the second layer of your pelvic floor, like I said, is attached to the first layer, where your clitoris is and everything, and then your clitoral legs, that kind of stimulates into your second layer of your pelvic floor. And so there's a specific move that will help you stretch that second layer that might help you achieve orgasm better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be for the one that's too tight.
Yeah.
And then what about the one that's too loose? That's not a prolapse, that's hypo. Okay. So then
is tight like a fist, and hypo is lax.
Okay.
Open fist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna show us moves for both.
Yes.
And then how would somebody know if they had a hypo one? You said they usually know?
Usually if someone has a hypotonic pelvic floor, they know before they even contact me, because if you have a hypotonic pelvic floor, you may not feel as much friction during intercourse, or you might have a prolapse, or like I said, you usually know if you have one or the other, but I kind of help you distinguish. I'm yeah. And so I also want to know, this is not a diagnosis. I am not a medical doctor, but I can help you distinguish. And so usually women know if they have one or the other, but I kind of help guide them into making that distinguished, that educated that educated distinguishment between the two.
Now, can you have
women might have a combination of both.
Okay, yeah, that was my next question. in like the different areas and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that is so good to know. Yeah, I'm fascinated by all of this because, women's health really is very much understudied. Oh, what does this feel like? What's it feel like?
What is it? I feel like I'm being like,
She's being electrocuted, right?
yeah, I'm being shocked, but like in the best way. Like it doesn't hurt or anything. It's just shocking.
It feels kind of like a mix between a workout and a massage.
Yes.
And it can be intense. Today we're doing core and we're doing the glutes at the same time. Where she's doing core and upper glutes and lower glutes, I'm doing core and glutes and like the lymphatic part of the thighs here in the front. So these are a little bit easier because we wanted to be able to talk. Leg day, which is like the best one that's for cellulite, it's quads, hamstrings, and glutes. And yeah, we would not be able to be having this conversation right now if that's what we were doing.
It was kind of difficult now to even have this conversation because I'd never done this and I was not expecting it. But,
Yeah, we had this planned out, but literally I woke up this morning and was just like, this would be more fun.
Yeah, and this was really fun.
I'm so excited. I've got 2 minutes left. So how was it? How do you feel?
Oh my gosh, this was so good. I cannot wait to see the results, especially because I had a quick brunch before I came here.
Yeah, we just canceled that out. We didn't cancel it out. We pushed it right into the booty.
Ooh, love that.
Yeah, definitely if you're wanting to like grow glutes, guys, we gotta eat. We gotta eat. If you know anybody who's on the Ozempic, GLP-1, semaglutide, Mounjaro, any of those, they definitely need to make an appointment with me if you offer that. You need to be taking my Jade course and you need to be having these clients, these patients come in once a week for the face, once a week for the booty. It's a different machine for that, but it's going to activate those muscles so you don't lose that. We don't want to be losing muscle in our older age, but obviously, if we have too much fat, that can be bad too. So it's all about a good balance. If you do have clients, you do have patients who are doing any of those, oof, this is your sign to sign up for my class and give your clients also a beautiful face and a nice little fluffy butt like we have right now, right? We're about to go check it out. And we learned so much today. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. And thank you for having me and doing a sculpting session with me.
Yes,
This was great.
Bye, guys.